Inhale.
Okay, everybody, okay?
Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Adgare Namah, Jugadgare Namah, Satgare Namah, Shri Gurudev Namah. Adgare Namah, Jugadgare Namah, Satgare Namah, Shri Gurudev Namah. Adgare Namah, Jugadgare Namah, Satgare Namah, Shri Gurudev Namah. Inhale. Breathe normally. Place your hands on your knees and begin to rotate around your spine. Reverse direction, please. Inhale. Breathe normally. Begin doing camel ride, a spinal flex. Doing this exercise, it's good to imagine that when you're inhaling, you're projecting your heart up at a 45-degree angle, and your head is not flopping back and forth. It's just inhale. Breathe normally. Come lying on your back. Inhale, raise your right leg straight up. Just the right leg. Exhale down, and inhale the other leg up. And continue. Now do both legs up and both legs down at the same time. And put your hands under your buttocks if you need support. Just another 20 seconds. Inhale up. Exhale down, relax. Inhale, both legs straight up, catch your toes. If you can, with your legs straight. And bring your legs together. And then inhale, spread them wide apart, and then back together. Your head could be relaxed on the ground. You don't have to hold it up. Another 20 seconds. Inhale, legs straight up. And relax. Bring your knees to your chest and begin rocking forward and back. And come sitting up. Extend both legs. somewhat apart. If you can, catch your toes. And inhale up to, no, let's go like this. Inhale up. And exhale down to the right side. Inhale up. Exhale down to the left side. Continue. Inhale up. Come down and grab both toes and begin breath of fire. Inhale. Exhale down. Then relax sitting up, easy pose. Come up into frog pose. Inhale up, exhale down.
주가 the such
Inhale up. And slowly come standing up. And we'll do an exercise that looks like this. Inhaling here. And going like this. Exhaling. Then inhaling. Exhaling down the other side. Continue. Inhale up. Spread your legs about a shoulder width apart. Arms out like this. Again, inhaling here. And on the exhale, the right hand will go down to the outside of the left ankle. And at the same time, your head will be watching the left hand, which will go up. Looks like this. Inhale. Exhaling. Inhaling.
Where there is hatred,
Exhaling.
let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Oh, divine Master, grant that I may know so mercy to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in dying that we are born into eternal life. This sunshine. To God, this sunshine.
Inhaling up. Relax. Inhale, arch back. Exhale down to the ground in front of you. Continue.
Nanak hosi
Inhale up, arch back.
나는 그 허심에 있었지.
And standing up quietly, arms relaxed, breathing normally, standing quietly inside. Come sitting on your heels, please. Our last exercise will be 3 minutes of Sat Kriya. Bring your hands up. Inhale. And let me chant the first 3 times before you start. I want to set this rhythm, okay? Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Continue. Sat, no. Sat, no.
Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat, no. Sat.
Inhale, stretch up. Squeeze everything. Slowly exhale. Lower your arms. Sit quietly inside for a moment, please. And relax on your back, please. Rotate your hands about your wrists, feet about your ankles. Rub your palms together, soles of your feet together. Rock forward and back and come sitting up. Sitting Gyan Mudra. Very simple, basic chant. Waheguru. Inhale. Breathe normally, sit quietly. Place your hands on your heart center, please. Imagine that there is a ball of light under your hands in your heart center. And imagine that there's a larger ball of light that's surrounding your body. And allow yourself to think for the next minute or two on this night before Thanksgiving, what it is in your life that you can be thankful for. And I recommend you can start with just the blessing in your life that you're able to be doing this practice. And be in the company of other people who do this practice. And continue from there, please. Let's begin this chant. I am the infinite within myself. I can see no beginning. I can see no end. All is myself. I am the infinite within myself. I can see no beginning. I can see no end. All is myself. I am the infinite within myself. I can see no beginning. I can see no end. All is myself. I am the infinite within myself. I can see no beginning, I can see no end. All is myself. I am the infinite within myself. I can see no beginning, I can see no end. All is myself. All is myself. All is myself. I think of all the things that I myself can be thankful for. You can relax your hands. I think the first thing that comes to mind is being thankful for having a daily practice. And the blessing each day of not doing, but being. To be able to be centered. And this space, I thought of that just now as we finished chanting and sitting in this lovely space. And then to have the blessing each day to go into that space. And to start each day that way. The thing Yogi Bhajan said most often about what to do in life was do a daily practice. And it's actually amazing how many people do this practice without doing a daily practice. And I used to be negative about that. But many years ago, in the first big ashram that we had, I used to know, so I thought, what was wrong with every person in the ashram.
He told us too.
What? Yes, I probably did. In the early years, I had low blood sugar, but I didn't know it. So my first name in the ashram was Ogurji. I'd go out in the afternoon and have a coffee and a pastry, which wasn't exactly part of our teachings. And then I'd have the low blood sugar thing come on around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And that would not be a good time to ask me a challenging question. But my wife said to me a long time ago, she said, if you look down on those people and you don't love them, you won't ever be able to serve them. Your job is to love those people and to see how they're not any different from you. But boy, that took a while. One of the things that living in community, Yogi Bhajan used to say the path to universal consciousness is through group consciousness. I see when I first walked in here and I sat down and watching the loving interchange between all of you. That's a big part of it, to open your hearts to each other and have a space where you can be loving and supporting one another. And also, of course, when you're living together, it's not always elegant. But learning how to be there and deal with that stuff. In the early years, I guess I think of that when I come here because I don't see the Sukhmanders that often. And we were together in our first ashram, or at least Sukhmander's thing was with me. We used to have weekly meetings. And probably in the first couple of years, at least half the meetings would end in tears. It's astonishing for me to think about it now, because it's so easy to be in a loving space with people. I thought when I first started to practice that I would find my center from doing the practice. And I realized quite early on that no, I wasn't finding my center, I was building my center. The regular daily practice, the chanting that flows through, that becomes a river in one's life, until it's really a river, it's there. I mean, I've been practicing now for 42 years, and well, a lot of things have changed in that time. Yeah. From no kids to grandkids.
Yay, grandkids.
And from not knowing how I was going to eat to it just flowing. And many other changes. But always there's a morning practice. And when I say this, it's something I have to say every time I talk about morning practice. If you don't do it someday or some days, it is not useful to blame yourself and experience guilt around it. If you don't do it, it needs to be an opportunity to practice self-forgiveness. It's nice to do it, but having opportunities to practice self-forgiveness are useful too. So, mostly, if we are aspiring to do a daily practice, and it's not happening for us, it's usually because we have some story going in ourselves where we're not able to give ourselves permission to enjoy life's abundance. Where it's not okay to be happy, or where it's even scary to be happy. The stories that we tell ourselves, which we may not realize are stories. We may think that it's just the way it is. But they're stories. Any story that we have within ourselves in which we're telling ourselves, I don't deserve, I'm not good enough, I'm not okay, I'm all alone. Those are stories. And it's not that you're wrong for having those stories. All of us have those stories. Every single person I've ever met, including people who we think of as enlightened people, have those stories in some aspect of their lives. These stories can be changed. It's possible to get from suffering to being okay, and from being okay to being happy. And I have this friend who's a pretty famous, thousands of students person, a guru to her students. She said this thing to me. I may have said it last time I was here, I don't know. It just blew me away when she said it. She said to me, Satsantok, the real work begins after enlightenment. I went, after enlightenment? I didn't know there was an after enlightenment. And saying that moved it to something that's realizable. I mean, what do you want in this lifetime? What do you want to do in this lifetime? When the time comes that you have to pack it in, move on. How do you, when you look back on your life, what would you like to be having in your mind, in your heart? I say this, there's a lot of, in our New Age movement, there's a lot of telling ourselves that whatever happened to us, we invite it. I don't support that. If people are ill or suffering or something's happened to you, frequently people feel guilty or ashamed. And at the same time, it's useful to ask oneself, how would I like to live? How would I like to be? How would I like to feel? How would you like to feel when you're 70? When you're 75? When you're 85? Most people in the United States, if they're still alive and well enough, they're moving into some kind of a care place. They're not with their families. And they're looking to amuse themselves by playing games. You know, there are community activities in the places, card games and bingo. It scares the hell out of me. Well, I can tell you, I'm 70, I'm 73, and I'm not going to be in one of those places. I mean, my parents were beautiful people. You know, I'm very blessed. I had parents who were incredibly loving, not only to me and my sister, but to each other. And I thought that was the way life was when I was a kid. And now that I've listened to 1,000 people more than 1,000 people tell me their life stories in the workshops I do, of those 1,000 people, I probably know 10 who've had parents like that. But, well, my father, he passed with my mother taking care of him. So he didn't have to go to a place like that. And my sister was and my mother, my sister, that's interesting. Well, my mother was in a place like that, but my sister was taking care of her. She stayed present the whole time. I think for many people, when the time comes to be aged and getting ready for that last stage in life, if you have sown nothing of significance in your life, if you haven't lived a conscious life, then the last years are spent waiting to die. And we don't have to live like that. You know that poem, I think Edwin Markham? Grow old along with me, the worst has been, the best is yet to be. After all these years of practice and all the hard work my wife and I have put into living with one another, and you know, Yogi Bhajan said you could live in a relationship with somebody, you could live at each other, with each other, or for each other. And to get to the place in life when you've been sharing a practice with somebody where you're able to live for each other, which is a lot of work, very hard work. But if you could do it, it's a very beautiful thing. And it can grow richer and richer and deeper and deeper. So if I think of the next thing I'm grateful for, it's to be able to have a relationship like that. If you run after it and think you're incomplete and you have to grab it, whatever it is you're running after is too hard to get. You have to feel okay here. And one of the things I remind myself of once in a while is that the illusion that there's something else I need to feel complete at this moment, that's an illusion. My friend Baba Ramdas is he's 10 years older than me. And he had a stroke more than 10 years ago. And he's starting to get weak now. I just spoke to one of his assistants, and they told me he's losing weight. They said, that's a good thing, isn't it? I said, no, it's not a good thing when you're over 80 and you're sitting in a wheelchair all day and you're not exercising. I know when Yogi Bhajan started to lose weight, people said, that's good. I said, no, that means he's dying. So Ram Dass is suffering a lot from having this stroke. I shouldn't say that. Ram Dass is hurting a lot from having this stroke, but he's not suffering. Years ago, shortly after he had the stroke, I'm talking about Baba Ram Dass, not Guru Ram Dass. I went over to his house and I asked him, hey Ram Dass, how are you doing? It was a stupid thing to ask at that time because he just had a stroke. But he looks at me and goes, doing? Being is good. And this guy I just spoke to, my wife and I are going to Hawaii next week. So we'll see Ram Dass. But he said the person, with all the pain he's having, he's radiating so much light and beauty. He never complains. He's just shining. This comes from doing Ram Dass has been doing a practice for 50 years. 50 years. It's nice to be here with you. I do come here with something to sell, as you know. I have a teacher's training course coming up in January in Santa Cruz, and I invite you to come to it. And you could take a teacher training course if you've been teaching for 20 years, or you just started Kundalini Yoga yesterday. I used to speak at rock festivals. I used to do that a lot. It was fun to do it. You know, leading chanting like this chanting we just did, leading it for 10,000 people. It is such a rush that for a while I felt addicted to it. I mean, I had to do those things. Just what a, amazing. Oh, and on December 15th, I have a few flyers with me. Sanattam, my wife and I are doing, it's a Saturday, are doing a 3-hour workshop at Santa Cruz, mostly music. Mostly music. And if you want to look up how to find any of this stuff, my name is Sat Santok. If you go to Google, you'll find satsantok.com. Or sanattam.com. Thank you for giving me this space. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Thank you for this practice, these teachings, this life, and this lifestyle. May your light prevail through us, that we might be a light to others. Satnam.